Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something most people will never admit. Being highly attractive has almost nothing to do with how you look and everything to do with the energy you carry. The truth is, there are women who walk into a room and immediately turn heads, not because of a dress, not because of makeup, but because they radiate a power, a confidence, a magnetism that can't be ignored. And here's the secret. There are signs, unmistakable signs, that show when you've stepped into that kind of irresistible energy. If you recognize them in yourself, you're not just attractive, you're unforgettable. You know what makes someone magnetic. It's rarely the things we're taught to focus on. The world often tells women that attractiveness is about how they look, how flawless their skin is, how toned their body is, how perfect their smile is. But the truth is, there's a deeper level of attractiveness that transcends appearance. It's that energy you carry, the way you make others feel in your presence, the way you walk into a room and suddenly people can't quite explain why they feel drawn to you. It's not always about beauty, it's about power, presence, and authenticity. The first sign is confidence without arrogance. This isn't about being the loudest voice in the room or the one demanding attention. True confidence is quiet, steady, and magnetic. It's when you don't need to prove yourself to anyone because you already know your worth. You don't have to constantly remind others of your value because the way you carry yourself does it for you. When you speak, you don't rush, you don't oversell, you don't try to force people to like you. You trust that those who are meant to connect with you will, and that calm assurance is irresistibly attractive. Another sign is independence. You don't rely on someone else to validate your existence. You have your own passions, your own goals, your own life. You're not sitting around waiting for someone to give you permission to live fully. Instead, you're already living. And that energy of a woman who is fulfilled in her own right creates a pull that is hard to ignore. People admire someone who doesn't need them, yet chooses to share their world. Independence says, I am whole already. And if you want to be in my life, it's because I want you here, not because I need you here. Then there's kindness. Kindness is underrated in a world where sarcasm and cynicism are often mistaken for strength. But genuine kindness, the type that makes people feel seen, heard, and valued, is unforgettable. It's not about people pleasing. It's about carrying warmth, even in a world that sometimes feels cold. When you treat others with compassion, it makes you magnetic. People may forget your outfit or the witty thing you said, but they never forget how you made them feel. That kindness becomes a signature of your attractiveness. Let's talk about self-respect. Self-respect is not just about how you carry yourself, but about the standards you set. You don't let people walk all over you. You don't settle for treatment that is beneath you. You know the difference between patience and self-betrayal, and you choose wisely. When someone sees that you won't tolerate disrespect, they understand that being in your life is a privilege, not a right. That's attractive. That's powerful. People are drawn to those who demand respect without even needing to raise their voice. Another undeniable sign is playfulness. There's a lightness to your spirit, an ability to laugh at yourself and find joy in the little things. You don't take life or yourself so seriously that you drain the fun out of every interaction. When you have that spark of playfulness, you make people feel like they can breathe around you. You make them feel alive. That's the kind of energy people crave, the sense that with you, life feels less heavy, less serious, and a lot more exciting. Presence is another key. When you're with someone, you're truly with them. You're not scrolling through your phone, distracted, or giving them only half of your attention. You make people feel like they matter. And in a world where everyone is distracted, being fully present is magnetic. It shows confidence, it shows maturity, and it shows a deep respect for others. When people feel that you are actually listening, actually engaging, they lean in closer because you make them feel rare and valued. Emotional strength is something else that cannot be ignored. Life will test you. People will test you. But your ability to handle adversity with grace makes you deeply attractive. When challenges come your way, you don't collapse into self-pity. You may feel the pain, you may struggle, but you rise again. That resilience creates an aura of strength that makes people feel safe around you. They sense that you are someone who can weather storms, someone who won't crumble at the first sign of trouble. That stability is incredibly alluring. And finally, there's mystery. You don't hand out every detail of your life like candy. You let people discover you over time. You understand that not everyone is entitled to every part of your story. There's a sense of depth, of layers, of intrigue to you. And it's not about playing games, it's about valuing yourself enough not to overshare with just anyone. People are naturally drawn to mystery because it makes them curious. It makes them want to know more. It makes them invest in discovering who you really are. When you combine all of these signs, confidence, independence, kindness, self-respect, playfulness, presence, emotional strength, and mystery, you embody a level of attractiveness that goes far beyond the surface. It's not the kind of beauty that fades when the lights are off or the makeup comes off. It's the kind of beauty that radiates from the inside out, the kind that leaves a lasting impression, the kind that no one can replicate because it's uniquely yours. When you combine all of these signs, confidence, independence, kindness, self-respect, playfulness, presence, emotional strength, and mystery, you embody a level of attractiveness that goes far beyond the surface. It's not the kind of beauty that fades when the lights are off or the makeup comes off. It's the kind of beauty that radiates from the inside out, the kind that leaves a lasting impression, the kind that no one can replicate because it's uniquely yours. And here's the thing, what makes these qualities so powerful is that they can't be faked. You can try to mimic them for a short while, but if they're not real, people eventually see through it. Confidence that's built on external validation will always crumble. Independence that's just a mask for loneliness eventually shows. Kindness that's forced comes across as performative. Real attractiveness doesn't come from a script. It comes from living in alignment with who you are and what you truly value. That's why people who possess these traits feel so different. They don't have to advertise it. They don't have to prove it. It's simply felt. Think about the people you've met who left a lasting impression on you. Chances are, it wasn't the most conventionally beautiful person in the room, but the one who carried themselves with a presence you couldn't ignore. They didn't need to be the loudest. They didn't need to beg for attention, yet everyone noticed them. That is the power of internal attractiveness. It outshines any external feature because it's rare, it's real, and it's magnetic. What's even more fascinating is that these qualities multiply each other. Confidence on its own is powerful, but when you add self-respect, it transforms into an undeniable aura. Independence alone is admirable, but when you combine it with playfulness, it becomes irresistible because it shows you can stand on your own while still letting others in. Kindness combined with emotional strength makes you feel safe and inspiring at the same time. Mystery mixed with presence makes every interaction feel like a privilege. These traits don't exist in isolation. They build upon each other, creating an energy that is impossible to ignore. And here's something that often gets overlooked. Attractiveness isn't about perfection. In fact, perfection can feel unapproachable. What makes someone magnetic is often their humanity. The way they handle their flaws with grace, the way they laugh at themselves when they stumble, the way they turn a mistake into a moment of connection instead of a reason to hide. When you can own your imperfections, when you can show up authentically without needing to pretend, you send a message that says, I'm comfortable in my skin. That's rare. That's captivating. That's what people crave. There's also something deeply attractive about curiosity. When you are genuinely curious about the world and the people in it, you radiate a sense of aliveness. You're not stuck in your own head, waiting to impress others with your stories. You're engaged, asking questions, learning, growing. That curiosity creates magnetic energy because people feel you actually care, not just about being seen, but about seeing others. In a culture where so many are desperate to be heard, the person who truly listens becomes unforgettable. Another overlooked quality is the ability to set boundaries with grace. Too many believe that saying not makes them less likable, but the truth is, boundaries are one of the strongest signs of attractiveness. They show that you respect yourself enough not to be stretched thin, and they teach others how to respect you too. Boundaries aren't walls that keep people out. They're gates that show who gets to come in and how they should treat you once they're there. That strength creates safety, and safety is deeply alluring because it communicates stability. There's also the element of passion. When you have something in your life that lights you up, something that excites you beyond relationships or external validation, you become magnetic. People are drawn to energy, and nothing creates energy quite like passion. Whether it's a career, a hobby, a mission, or a dream, the way your eyes light up when you talk about it, the way you dedicate yourself to it, creates an irresistible spark. Passion says, I'm alive, I'm engaged, I'm going somewhere. And that kind of energy makes people want to be part of your world. Gratitude is another quiet yet powerful sign of attractiveness. When you live with gratitude, you radiate contentment. You're not constantly chasing or complaining. You're grounded, appreciative, and open to the beauty in life. Gratitude changes the way you move through the world, and it's noticeable. People feel at ease around someone who isn't constantly dissatisfied, someone who can find joy in simple moments. Gratitude adds depth to your attractiveness because it shows that you have perspective, and that perspective makes others feel good in your presence. And then there's authenticity. Authenticity is magnetic because it's rare. So many people hide behind masks, trying to be who they think others want them to be. But when you show up as yourself unapologetically, consistently, and vulnerably, you give others permission to do the same. That kind of realness draws people in because it's trustworthy. They know they don't have to guess with you. They don't have to decode mixed signals. They don't have to wonder what's really going on beneath the surface. Authenticity says, "This is me," and that level of self-acceptance is one of the most attractive things you can offer. It's also important to mention how you handle connection. Being attractive isn't just about how you present yourself, but about how you make others feel when they're around you. Do you celebrate their wins without jealousy? Do you listen without judgment? Do you encourage without trying to control? The way you engage in connection reflects your inner world. When you give people the space to be themselves, when you make them feel accepted and valued, they gravitate toward you. That's not because of something you said or did once. It's because of the consistent energy you bring into every interaction. Finally, what ties all of this together is your ability to keep evolving. Attractiveness isn't static. It's not something you arrive at once and then hold forever. It grows as you grow. When you keep challenging yourself, learning, expanding, and deepening your character, you keep your energy fresh and magnetic. Stagnation is dull, but growth is intoxicating. The more you evolve, the more people are drawn to you because they can feel your aliveness, your depth, your ongoing transformation. Finally, what ties all of this together is your ability to keep evolving. Attractiveness isn't static. It's not something you arrive at once and then hold forever. It grows as you grow. When you keep challenging yourself, learning, expanding, and deepening your character, you keep your energy fresh and magnetic. Stagnation is dull, but growth is intoxicating. The more you evolve, the more people are drawn to you because they can feel your aliveness, your depth, your ongoing transformation. And what's even more captivating about growth is that it shows humility. It shows that you're not pretending to have it all figured out, but you're willing to learn, to adapt, to refine. There's something incredibly appealing about someone who is strong enough to admit when they don't know something, someone who is open to feedback, someone who allows life to shape them without losing their core. Growth mixed with humility makes you approachable, inspiring, and endlessly fascinating because people know there's always more to discover about you. Another layer of true attractiveness is your relationship with presence and peace. In a world full of chaos, drama, and noise, someone who brings calm energy stands out. Peace doesn't mean being quiet or passive. It means being grounded. It means you're not easily rattled by small things. You don't lose yourself in petty arguments. You don't thrive on unnecessary drama. Instead, you radiate a sense of stability, and that stability becomes magnetic. People crave it because it's rare to find someone who makes you feel calmer simply by being near them. There's also a subtle but powerful quality in the way you carry your body, posture, eye contact, the way you move through a room. It all communicates something before you even open your mouth. When you walk with your head high, not out of arrogance, but out of assurance, people notice. When you look someone in the eye with sincerity, you create trust. When you move with intention, you show that you belong wherever you are. This physical expression of inner confidence can't be faked for long because it always mirrors what's inside. The more aligned you are within, the more naturally attractive your physical presence becomes. A sense of standards is another undeniable factor. People are naturally drawn to those who expect more from life, not in an entitled way, but in a way that shows discernment. When you're selective about how you spend your time, who you give your energy to, and what environments you allow yourself to be in, you send a message. I value myself. And that message is attractive because it suggests that being in your space is something to be earned. It raises the level of respect others have for you, and it draws people who want to match that standard instead of lower it. What also cannot be overlooked is your ability to embrace vulnerability. Many confuse vulnerability with weakness, but in reality, it's one of the greatest displays of strength. To be open, to share parts of yourself, to risk being misunderstood or hurt, and still stand in your truth, that is powerful. People are drawn to vulnerability because it feels real. It creates intimacy, it builds trust, and it shows courage. When you can reveal your emotions without apology, you connect with others on a deeper level than surface charm ever could. There's something magnetic too about your ability to adapt without losing yourself. Life is full of unexpected turns. Relationships shift, careers change, dreams evolve. When you can adapt with resilience while still staying true to your values, you become someone people admire and want to be around. Adaptability shows flexibility, strength, and wisdom. It says you're not afraid of the unknown because you trust yourself to handle it. That quiet confidence in your adaptability is profoundly attractive because it reassures others that being with you is an adventure, not a risk. Another sign that cannot be ignored is your ability to inspire others without trying to. You don't have to stand on a stage or give motivational speeches to inspire. Your everyday choices do that. The way you prioritize your health, the way you protect your peace, the way you pursue your dreams, the way you carry yourself through difficulties. It all inspires silently. When people see you living with integrity, they feel encouraged to rise to the same standard in their own lives. Inspiration is one of the most magnetic forces on the planet, and when it comes from you naturally, it makes you unforgettable. And let's talk about energy, because energy doesn't lie. You can dress perfectly, say all the right things, and still fail to attract if your energy is closed, bitter, or insecure. On the other hand, when your energy is open, warm, and strong, it draws people in even when you're not trying. Energy speaks before words, and it lingers long after you leave a room. Cultivating positive, strong energy comes from how you take care of yourself internally, your thoughts, your self-talk, your habits, your level of gratitude. That inner work reflects outward in ways that no makeup or clothing ever could. Your sense of fun also plays a huge role. Fun doesn't mean being the center of attention or always cracking jokes. It means you bring lightness into situations. You know how to find joy in moments others overlook. You can laugh at life's absurdities, create memories out of ordinary days, and show people how to enjoy the journey instead of constantly chasing the destination. Fun is magnetic because it brings relief. It makes others feel they can let their guard down, and nothing is more attractive than someone who can remind us how to actually live. There's also an element of loyalty that adds depth to attractiveness. In a world where many relationships feel transactional, loyalty stands out. Loyalty says you're not just present when it's convenient, but you show up when it matters. It says you value trust and commitment. And while loyalty doesn't mean tolerating disrespect or staying where you don't belong, it does mean you bring consistency and reliability to the connections you choose. That reliability makes people feel safe, and safety is one of the most magnetic feelings you can create. Finally, one of the greatest signs of deep attractiveness is your ability to balance strength with softness. Strength alone can be intimidating, and softness alone can sometimes be overlooked. But when you embody both, when you can be firm yet kind, strong yet compassionate, ambitious yet gentle, you create a harmony that people can't help but admire. That balance communicates depth. It says you can handle life's challenges without losing your warmth. It says you can love deeply without losing your independence. And that harmony is a rare and irresistible form of beauty that leaves a lasting impact wherever you go. That balance communicates depth. It says you can handle life's challenges without losing your warmth. It says you can love deeply without losing your independence. And that harmony is a rare and irresistible form of beauty that leaves a lasting impact wherever you go. And the truth is, people can feel this balance long before they can describe it. They might not be able to put their finger on exactly what it is, but they know there's something different about you. It's the way you can walk into a room and make people feel like they're seen without even saying much. It's the way you bring calm into chaos, but also ignite excitement in stillness. It's the duality of being strong enough to stand alone, yet soft enough to let others in. That paradox makes you magnetic because most people lean too far into one side while you've mastered both. Another layer of deep attractiveness is consistency. Anyone can put on a charming face for a night. Anyone can show up once with their best behavior, but true attraction comes from consistency. when your words match your actions, when people know that what you promise is what you deliver, you stand out. Reliability is a form of attractiveness people rarely talk about, but it's one of the most important because consistency builds trust. And when people trust you, they relax around you. And when they relax, they're able to connect with you more deeply. That connection built over time is far more magnetic than fleeting charm. Equally magnetic is your ability to hold space for others. This means you don't just listen to respond, you listen to understand. You don't rush to fill silence because you're comfortable enough to let it exist. You don't make conversations about proving your worth. You make them about truly connecting. When people feel that you hold space for them, they feel valued in a way most rarely do. And value creates attachment. Attachment creates memory. And memory creates lasting attraction that doesn't fade once the interaction ends. There's also beauty in your ability to choose joy. The world offers countless reasons to be bitter, to complain, to focus on what's missing. But choosing joy in spite of challenges shows strength of spirit. When you laugh in the middle of stress, when you find beauty in ordinary days, when you create light in dark places, you become unforgettable. Joy is contagious, and when people feel it from you, they want to stay close to it. It's not about being unrealistically positive all the time. It's about refusing to let negativity own you. That resilience and joy combined create a glow that's impossible to resist. A deeply attractive trait that often goes unnoticed is discernment. Discernment is the ability to see things clearly, to understand who deserves your time, who has your best interest at heart, and what environments truly nurture you. Discernment means you don't let everyone have access to you just because they want it. You choose carefully, and that choice elevates your value. People sense when access to you is something special, something not easily earned, and that makes them respect you more. Discernment isn't about arrogance, it's about honoring yourself, and that self-honor radiates outward as an undeniable sign of attractiveness. Then there's the art of curiosity about life itself. When you stay open to learning new things, experiencing new adventures, stepping outside your comfort zone, you keep your spirit alive. People are drawn to aliveness. They can feel it in your energy when you're genuinely excited to keep growing, to keep discovering, to keep evolving. Curiosity makes you attractive because it shows you're not stagnant. You're moving, you're learning, you're expanding. That energy is intoxicating because it makes others feel like life with you would never be boring, that every chapter would hold something new. And attractiveness is also reflected in the way you treat yourself when no one is watching. The care you give yourself, the standards you uphold privately, the way you talk to yourself in your mind, it all creates the energy that people feel from you in public. Self-love is not about grand gestures, it's about small, daily acts of respect toward yourself. When you consistently show that you value your well-being, your peace, and your dreams, it radiates. Others feel it without you ever needing to say it, and that's what makes it so magnetic. It's unspoken, but undeniable. Let's also talk about resilience in relationships. Every connection has moments of misunderstanding, conflict, or distance. What makes you deeply attractive is your ability to navigate those moments with maturity. You don't explode unnecessarily. You don't manipulate. You don't run at the first sign of tension. You address issues with honesty. You stand firm in your boundaries, and you allow space for growth. That resilience shows emotional maturity, and it communicates to others that being with you means being with someone stable, grounded, and safe. Safety is one of the most underrated yet magnetic traits of all. Another part of your magnetism is generosity, not just with material things, but with your spirit. Generosity of encouragement, of attention, of kindness, of presence. Generosity doesn't mean overgiving or losing yourself. It means giving from overflow, not emptiness. When you share your gifts, your warmth, your insights, without expectation, it touches people. And when people feel touched by your generosity, they remember you long after you're gone. That lasting impression is what creates true attraction, the kind that lingers. There's also the way you handle your own ambitions. Having goals, chasing dreams, and pursuing the things that matter to you is profoundly attractive. Ambition shows you're not waiting for someone else to hand you a life. It shows you're building your own. But when that ambition is balanced with humility and presence, it doesn't intimidate, it inspires. People admire someone who has direction, who is striving for more, who refuses to settle for mediocrity. That drive is magnetic because it creates momentum, and momentum is exciting. And perhaps one of the most magnetic things of all is your ability to remain grounded no matter how much attention you receive. When people are drawn to you, when opportunities arise, when you're celebrated, you don't let it inflate your ego. You stay centered. You remain connected to who you are, not who others expect you to be. That grounded nature makes you not just attractive, but trustworthy, and trust deepens attraction in ways surface level charm never can. At the heart of it all, what makes you highly attractive is that your beauty isn't borrowed. It's built. It's not something that disappears when external things fade. It's something cultivated from within. Every quality, confidence, kindness, resilience, joy, discernment, curiosity, ambition, generosity, balance, consistency creates an aura that no one can replicate. And because it's authentic, because it's real, it lasts.